Speaking of coaches who do incredible jobs relative to their school's recent history, let us talk Lance Leipold in Kansas, because this team, I cannot tell you how amazed I am when I think about, Ari, that Lance Leipold took over Kansas 3 years ago on the last day of spring practice.
Yeah.
Like, how has he done this?
It is nothing short of a miracle. For those that don't know, Kansas is my alma mater. And so, yeah, I mean, for a decade, Kansas was a FCS school playing in the Big 12. I mean, and I know that because they were losing consistently to FCS opponents. Their most competitive games all year, every year for a decade, were against FCS opponents. So they were, for a decade, an FCS team playing in the Big 12. And so the fact that Leipold came in and turned around as quickly as he did is really nothing short of a miracle. And when you think about, like, Travis Goff, their athletic director, got an extension lately, or got an extension last week, I should say. Like, how quickly they rebuilt the football program. They got a stadium that's now being built. Like, I mean, think about all these other teams and programs that are going through all this different red tape and issues trying to get a new stadium built, and how quickly he's able to get that thing pushed through. It's incredible how Kansas went from being a basketball school with a, with a non-viable football program to like a legitimately viable athletic department. But now there are some things to overcome here. And I mean, you're talking about a long tenured offensive coordinator with Lance Leipold that's gone now. So major question mark on offense, I think, with the new OC.
Andy Kotelnicki heads to Penn State. Jeff Grimes, late of Baylor, takes over, but they're going to run Kansas's offense. Now, the two corners they kept, that was one. I know they were worried that somebody's going to pick them off in the transfer portal. That did not happen. Jalen Daniels is one of the most exciting quarterbacks in college football. And I will add the caveat here: when healthy. The part that makes this interesting is Jason Bean, the backup quarterback who could always come in when Jalen Daniels got hurt, is not there anymore. So does that change things if he gets banged up? Do they become a different team if they don't have the stopgap of Jason Bean?
The answer is yes. How could they not? This is one of the most talented quarterbacks in college football. And Bean, to his credit, did a great job in not giving up too much last year when he came in. But it's just, even with Bean, like there's a drop off in talent. And then remember, Bean got hurt too, so they had to go to their third string quarterback and a true freshman walk-on named Cole Ballard, who's the son of Indianapolis Colts GM Chris Ballard. I'll tell you something. I'm excited about Ballard. Now, he was thrust into a really tough spot, had to play and start the K-State game, and I mean, did not play that poorly considering, again, walk on as a true freshman. So I do like what they have behind Jalen Daniels, but again, it's not Ballard is not the athletically gifted quarterback that Jason Bean is or Jalen Daniels. So this goes back to when you're in the offseason, you have like, what do we know versus what are the question marks? And so fans will always take the question marks and they're always going to be answered positively. Oh, Daniels will stay healthy this year. All these question marks will be answered positively. As analysts, we have to look at that and say, what do we know? And what are the question marks? And then assume that most of those question marks will not be answered positively. Jalen Daniels is not going to play the entire season. I know that because he's yet to do that. So that's all the evidence I have says that he's not going to play. Again, it's my alma mater, but I'm just not as high on Kansas as I think a lot of people are because of that. Now, if Daniels plays in every game, totally different animal. And yeah, this team is a viable CFP contender because they're going to be a Big 12 title contender with that. I just don't buy that he's going to be healthy for the entire season because he hasn't been.
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues. I think I actually like the non-conference, at Illinois. I think Kansas is going to be favored in that game. The UNLV game that's going to be played at Sporting KC Stadium might be one of the more fun offensive matchups that we're going to see all season. Very excited about that one. Obviously, the Sunflower Showdown is going to be huge, but Kansas does not have to play Utah, does not have to play Oklahoma State. That's a nice draw.
Yep.
I'm going to go ceiling CFP because I do think, like you said, if Jalen Daniels is healthy, they're a CFP contender because they're a contender for the Big 12 title. They got a great draw. Yes, they have to play Kansas State. They'll have to play them every year. But they get Iowa State in Lawrence. Or, well, it wouldn't be Lawrence. They'll get Iowa State at Arrowhead.
Kansas City,
They get Colorado at Arrowhead. At Baylor, at Arizona State. If you got to go places, that's at BYU. Those are better places to have to go. So, yeah, I'm going to go Big 12 title contender is the ceiling, which means CFP is the ceiling. The floor, I can't believe this. I'm saying this about Kansas. The floor is 7 wins.
Yeah.
The worst is 7 wins.
I would think Lance Leipold has done enough in a few years that there's a credibility here that like they're not going to miss a bowl game. You know, like even if things go horribly wrong and Daniels isn't healthy and this, that, and the other, and there's injuries, like they're just too good and are too well coached to not get to a bowl game. The other part, if we could throw the schedule back up there for a second. So Iowa State in Kansas City. If we know one thing about Iowa State and Kansas City, it's that they travel to Kansas City in droves. The Iowa State basketball fans support at Big 12 tournament in Kansas City is bigger than Kansas's. So imagine what a football game in Kansas City between Iowa State and Kansas will be like. That is going to be a neutral site game. So Kansas, a lot of these games that we're looking at as home games aren't. They're probably more neutral site game, and especially that one.
Yeah, this is going to them not playing at home. Not that they had a tremendous home field advantage anyway.
Right.
If we're being real about this,
right.
The girl in the stands isn't knitting anymore, but I'm not sure that everybody's as into it as they are at, say, LSU. So it's not like they had a massive home field advantage before. But I just look, it's a new world at Kansas, and everybody who roots for Kansas should be very, very excited. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.